Welcome to Transformation Fridays. This is Chani. So we're going to talk about addiction today. And addiction is a very interesting topic for me because it's something that I think we all have experienced at some point in our lives to some degree and for some duration of time, right? We think of addiction as anything that we do sort of compulsively without thinking that is harmful, either to our mental, our physical, our emotional, our psychological, physiological, subtle bodies, right? To our state of being, something that we do compulsively that is harmful. And when we think about the narratives around addiction, the first thing I want to do is pull the rug out from under using the word addiction. I would rather say that we're making disempowered choices. And the reason is because when we talk about addiction, especially in the communities that serve people who are really battling with this idea of addiction, is that they have a disease and that the disease itself is incurable. And I think that that's bullshit. I think that we get to make choices, and as we become more aware of what it is that's happening and why we're making the choices that we are, we become more capable. We increase our capacity to make choices that are different, that are new, that take us beyond the narrative that's pointing us in the direction of this idea of addiction. What is it? Addiction is always the avoidance of something. So you are going to be avoiding a feeling, a state, a memory, an action. And in that avoidance, you are going to redirect your energy towards something else that is harmful. And in that direction that you're pointing yourself with the substance, with the action, with the behavior, with the relationship, you are going to be establishing connection. And it is in that connection that you establish that you feel the safety, the significance, the connectivity that you are not feeling over here with the thing you're avoiding, right? So you don't want to feel scared or rejected or pain or relive the memory of trauma or whatever it is over here that you're avoiding. And so you're going to go over here to the thing, the substance or the behavior or the action that's going to take you out of this. And it's going to bring you into connection and relationship with this other thing where now you can experience safety and you can feel connection and significance. The trouble is that it's harmful. The trouble is that it's not actually serving the all of you, the more of you, the empowered you, right? The you that wants to make choices that allow you to come to life, right? So many times, things that we tend to think of as being addictions are drugs and alcohol, are gambling, sex, gossip. I'm going to say that any of these things can be addictions. These days, you've got social media, TV, any kind of negative sort of, not negative in a bad way, right? Things that you can see on the screen that are serving a very particular frequency, like violent videos, right? We can create addiction around any of these things. Abuse of power, right? Or the idea of being overpowering somebody, being in abusive relationships, being in codependent relationships, needing to be needed. All of these things can end up serving the idea of addiction because they become compulsive, we're not thinking about it, and they are disempowering. They are harmful on some level. And so for me, I say let's shift. So shift the narrative, the nomenclature itself from addiction to disempowered choices. And then two, let's really look at, so when we're creating connection or we're creating this idea of connection within the behavior, watching the pornography, taking the drugs, being in the codependent relationship, whatever it is that is the thing we're addicted to, what it's giving us, the feeling that it's giving us, and how can we say, okay, I recognize that I'm avoiding something over here and deal with that shit. because all that requires of us, and I say all that, it's work, sure. Whether it's easy or hard is sort of up to you, right? It's observation of the sensation that you're avoiding, really observing the texture, the tonality, the connotation, the feeling in the body, the sensation that's actually coming up within that feeling that you're avoiding, and moving from that to an integrative state. And this may be something that you do many times, right? And then saying, okay, I can feel that and be okay. That's a starting point. And so when I do that, I'm not doing this. And maybe instead of doing this, I can do this thing over here. And this is not just a replacement tactic, right? It's not just like, oh, you're addicted to heroin, will go for a jog, right? Like, it's not quite that simple, because you really do have to tend to the emotion, the state of being, the traumatic sort of memories that may be being avoided over here, and realize that those things can be felt and can be moved through without you dissolving into nothingness, which I think a lot of times fear of an emotion is what paralyzes us from feeling it. So this is a huge topic, right? I just wanted to throw some things out there though, like, I hope it's helpful. Once an addict, always an addict is the narrative in the NA and AA communities, and it's not fucking true. You get to decide. You get to make your choices. You get to be the character, the version of you that you want to be. And yes, that may mean that you have to do work. And yes, that may mean that you have to break some patterns and change some ways of being. And that's okay, right? So changing the way that we talk about addiction and really realizing like what it is. All it is at the end of the day is avoidance of something that we are not wanting to feel, not wanting to face, not wanting to deal with. And if we can do that and we can identify that, then we have an opportunity to really shift that behavior. So I hope that's helpful.